Hi there and thanks for joining us for this late edition of ViuTV News. I'm Patrick Fock in Hong Kong. Coming up on tonight's show, Islamic State claims deadly bomb attack that killed at least 22 at a concert in Manchester. British police make arrests in connection with the case. Concerns arise over safety of Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge as ICAC arrests 21 over allegedly falsifying building material tests. And Uber voices its disappointment at Hong Kong police after 21 Uber drivers are arrested in crackdown today. All right, we begin tonight with a tragedy in the UK where at least 22 people were killed, many of them children, in an attack during a concert in Manchester. The so-called Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the suspected suicide bombing. Prime Minister Theresa May criticised the attackers for their appalling, sickening cowardice. She said authorities believe they now know the identity of the suspected suicide bomber. Police have arrested at least one man in South Manchester in connection with the case. The details of the attack, here's Graham Mackay.
Bomb disposal teams combed the area around the Manchester Arena in northern England in the early hours of Tuesday morning. Hours earlier, scenes of chaos as fans at an Ariana Grande concert ran for safety. At least 22 people have been confirmed dead and around 60 injured after an explosion rang out as the gig came to an end. Police say it was a suicide attack carried out by a single bomber and that children are among the dead.
We are working closely with National Counter-Terrorism Policing Network and UK intelligence partners. This is clearly a very concerning time for everyone.
According to US officials, the attack bears the hallmark of Islamic State. It's the deadliest attack of its kind in the UK since 52 people were killed by suicide bombers in London in 2005. Ariana Grande says she's broken over the tragedy, tweeting, quote, "I'm so sorry, I don't have words." Meanwhile, fans who were at the concert have been speaking out about their experience.
I was like, we need to run. So we started running. We ran straight out the doors, all the way down to the hotel. And all I could hear was screaming, people crying. Everyone was just running everywhere. It was completely madness.
Britain is on its second highest alert of severe, meaning authorities believe a militant attack is highly likely. Countries around the world, from the US to Singapore, are now considering tightening security at major sports and theatre events following the blast.
Authorities here in Hong Kong also on high alert. Asia World Expo says it will step up security ahead of an Ariana Grande concert later this year, including the use of metal detectors. And earlier I spoke with Katie Gregory, who's on the ground right now in Manchester and shared some details with us.
Theresa May has spoken. She has said that they believe they know the identity of this sole suicide bomber who carried out this attack. We're not given a name yet, but they are obviously investigating any links to anyone else here in the Manchester area or indeed around the UK. We came here this morning on a train, came into the station, armed police were everywhere. There's certainly a sense of, I suppose, fear among people still here on the streets of Manchester. Many of those confirmed dead are believed to be children. Ariana Grande has a huge following of teenagers and youngsters. Many parents still frantically searching for their kids last night after the concert. And we know this attack took place in the foyer. That was after the concert was finishing. Everyone was moving out of the building. So just a tragic time here in the UK, and investigations ongoing. Security services doing everything they can to find out who's responsible.
Katie Gregory there in Manchester for us. Now, local news. Hong Kong's outgoing leader, CY Leung, has slammed calls by pan-Democrats to impeach him. He says it's an abuse of the system. It comes a day after 28 pan-democratic lawmakers submitted a motion in LegCo to impeach Leung over a probe into his dealings with Australian energy firm UGL. Speaking ahead of his Tuesday meeting with the Executive Council, the chief executive said lawmakers demonstrated double standards by asking DAB lawmaker Holden Chow to quit the committee while keeping accountancy rep Kenneth Leung on the panel. Leung said he would staunchly defend his rights and reputation. One of the lawmakers who submitted the motion, Civic Party's Alvin Yearn, took the opportunity today to condemn both CY Leung and Chow, the pairs accused of colluding over the UGL probe.
What Mr. Leung and Mr. Chow did are blatantly abusive to this institution. And if we turn a blind eye to this incident, LegCo will lose our respect. If we have to continue to earn the respect from Hong Kong people, we have to make it very, very clear that this is not allowed. We have to make our voice heard, not among ourselves, but to Hong Kong people.
And the ICAC arrested 21 people for alleged corruption over false concrete tests in connection with the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge construction. They all work for a building contractor hired by the Civil Engineering and Development Department. It's believed they falsified concrete compression test reports. The incident came to light only after the government spotted irregularities in the reports. The revelations have led to concerns over the safety of the multi-billion-dollar overpass. Uber voiced its disappointment at Hong Kong police after 21 of its drivers were arrested today in a sting operation to crack down on car-hailing services in the city. In a statement, the company said it will provide legal assistance to the arrested drivers. Police arrested 20 men and 1 woman aged between 21 and 59. It was part of an undercover operation launched this month. The drivers were accused of illegally using cars for hire and conducting business without third-party insurance. Uber says it's already attained the insurance required under Hong Kong law. In March, 5 Uber drivers were found guilty of the same charges and were fined $10,000 each. Lawmakers on both sides of the divide have voiced criticism of a government proposal to raise fines for illegal parking. They called it an ineffective way of solving the city's traffic congestion problem. It's up for discussion in LegCo again after receiving strong opposition against their proposed fine hike. That's despite the government having already halved their initial proposed 50% increase. Under the new proposal, the fixed penalty for illegal parking will go up by 25% to $400. DAB lawmaker Edward Lau criticised the administration for being lazy, saying it should focus on creating more spaces for people to park their cars instead. And staying on transport-related news, an MTR technical worker was killed in an accident at the company's Tai Wai depot this morning. The 59-year-old man was last seen heading to Chek Kung Temple Station with his colleagues in a maintenance truck. He was later found lying unconscious on the tracks. Rescue workers pulled him out, but he was soon confirmed dead. The railway operator has expressed regrets over the incident. Right, news elsewhere. South Korea's former leader Park Geun-hye arrived at a Seoul court today to stand trial on bribery charges. It's her first public appearance since she was arrested in March. Park faces more than 10 years in jail if found guilty of taking bribes from business leaders, one of the key accusations that led to her impeachment. Park is the country's first democratically elected leader to be removed from office. Park has denied any wrongdoing and is expected to plead not guilty at the trial. For more on the story, here's Joseph Kim in Seoul.
No longer in the presidential palace, Park Geun-hye arrived at the Seoul Central District Court in handcuffs, and not as the most powerful individual in South Korea, but as inmate 503. The impeached president is facing criminal charges, but also a judgment that could determine how she's remembered. Daughter of former President Park Chung-hee, who led with dictatorial rule, Park Geun-hye has spent her entire life in politics. Now, the court's decision could either exonerate her life's work and her father's, or possibly taint them both.
I deeply feel they're attacking Park Chung-hee because he and Park Geun-hye have changed the times.
Park Chung-hee is the president who helped develop the country to where it is, but they're trying to completely erase their memories.
Park Geun-hye faces corruption charges in 18 different cases, ranging from coercion, abuse of power, to leaking government secrets, all of which she's denied. She's also accused of colluding with a longtime friend to extort millions from the country's largest companies, including Samsung, whose de facto leader, Lee Jae-yong, also stands trial. But corruption in power is nothing new in South Korea, with Park being the third president to face criminal charges. That's why many in the country see Park's trial as important for the young democracy. But if found guilty, the charges could send the once president to a prison cell for the remainder of her life.
South Korea's military fired warning shots at a suspected drone from North Korea today amid tension over Pyongyang's latest missile test. Local media reported that more than 90 shots were fired in return. Meantime, a North Korean diplomat has told the United Nations that his country's missile tests were a legitimate right. The UN Security Council is expected to slap new sanctions on North Korea as it holds a closed-door meeting today to discuss how to handle Pyongyang's continued provocations. Earlier today, the Chinese Foreign Ministry urged the North not to violate Security Council resolutions again. US President Donald Trump talked up the prospects of peace between Israelis and Palestinians after an hour-long meeting with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. On his first foreign trip as president, Trump has been pushing to reach what he's dubbed the ultimate deal, though he's not fleshed out any strategy towards achieving it. Abbas said after today's meeting that he's determined to deliver an agreement for all Palestinians. This comes ahead of the 50th anniversary of Israel's capture of territories that Palestinians seek for a state next month.
President Abbas assures me he is ready to work toward that goal in good faith. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has promised the same. I am truly hopeful that America can help Israel and the Palestinians forge peace and bring new hope to the region.
Former White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn has declined to comply with a subpoena from the Senate Intelligence Committee. It's all part of investigations into possible Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election. Flynn invoked his Fifth Amendment constitutional protection against self-incrimination. The retired Lieutenant General is a key witness in the Russia probe. It was not clear what the committee would do next if Flynn decided not to comply. OK, time for a breather, but do stay with us. There's plenty more to come on the show, including a group of asylum seekers catching up for a kick around in Wong Tai Sin. Don't go away.